Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to another Tango Movement Lab, our online practice sessions that happen every once a month. I am Chrisa, the founder and teacher of Bautanz Constructing Dance, and this evening for Toronto, and not sure where you guys are in the world, but today we will be adding on to our work from last month, where basically we were discussing and building our practice. So, so if you see me stopping like I did now, just some items to have in mind. If you see me stopping, please keep going. I'll probably be monitoring some comment or letting someone in on Zoom, which is on the other side on another screen. That's one thing. If you have any comments or thoughts, please type them in the chat, either on the YouTube chat or the Zoom chat. I will try to catch them if I can as we are progressing. So these after these items, let's get right into it. So how we worked on last month is I trying to first identify how do we start a practice. And I'm gonna say something that you've probably all experienced, so it shouldn't be a surprise. You go to a practice, that it doesn't matter if it's online or if it's in a studio, actually, because you go there and the person who runs the practice, they have a theme, they have something to share with you, something to put forward that you can try and ask them questions. So oftentimes that theme does not quite match exactly what you're maybe focusing on at that time, or what you feel that you need on that day. So it makes it a little bit difficult. And the way that we usually solve this is we book private sessions, and those can be catered to our needs specifically. Now, how my approach today is unfortunately going to be the same, but what I want to do is give you little tips on how to make the most out of any practice session, and possibly to some extent out of every class, because this can be something that may happen to you in a class setting as well. It might not match exactly what you are looking for, especially as we are progressing and we're not beginners anymore. So we might be looking for something different at that time. So not 100% satisfied with what is presented to us. So let's start with a little dance, because I don't want to bore you with all with too much talking at the very beginning. Let's start with a little dance. And actually, we're going to be doing two prep dances compared to one, but there's going to be a little bit of a chat and redirection in between. Let me just adjust this because I can see that. Oops. Okay, there we go. So, music. Mm-hmm.
Déjame mentir que volverás con el ayer de nuestro sueño. Déjame esperarte nada más, ya que comprendo que esperar es un pedazo de recuerdo. Sé que este dolor es el dolor de comprender que no puede ser esa esperanza que me ahora. Déjame llorar, siempre llorar, y recordarte y esperar y comprender que no vendrás. ¿Qué te importa que te llore? ¿Qué te importa que me mienta? Si ha quedado roto mi castillo del ayer, déjame hacer un dios con sus pedazos. ¿Qué te importa lo que sufro? ¿Qué te importa lo que lloro? Si no puede ser aquel ayer de la ilusión, déjame así, llorando nuestro amor. ¿Qué te importa lo que sufro? ¿Qué te importa lo que lloro? Si no puede ser aquel ayer de la ilusión, déjame así, llorando nuestro amor.
Okay, so like we were saying last time, sorry. There we go. So, like we were saying last time, we we want with the prep dance to start identifying how we're feeling for the day, and maybe set up a certain goal or redefine our goal, and try to see what we need from our practice at that moment. So, use this dance not so much to um, not so much to practice. It's not a practice dance just yet. It is the dance of that will get you into the mood and that will help you identify what is it that you need from this particular practice session. So maybe you notice that there are some, I don't know, some tension, maybe. Let me give you an example. I noticed that I have a little bit of tension, especially on the left side of my neck. So I could feel that the shoulder is starting to come up. So that is something you make a mental note out of. And this is why I wanted to take a little break in between. This strategy you can use in a class which is already themed, or in a practice which is already themed. So it's not your own practice, it's someone else running it, like this one. So you start with a dance, or you start with the exercise that the teacher is giving you, and you start working your way through it, and you're using it as a way to identify how things are feeling, what you might need in terms to make it more comfortable for yourself. Is it comfortable? First of all, that would be a good question. And then you start asking the different questions like, can I make it more with a better flow? Am I liking connection with my partner? Does it feel too mechanical? You start identifying things that can help you with whatever else it is that you're working on. So, let me give you a quick example, and then we're going to go and dance again. So, for example, let's say that I'm mostly interested in working on my pivots, my ochos. And I go to to a practice session, and the theme is some sequence. That's the instructor has come up with a sequence, and they offer it to the group for practice. Any part of that sequence can help me if I focus on it, if I put that ocho lens, right, can help me better my pivots, because it can become the medium of me identifying what may be the problem that that I'm having trouble with. So can it be postural? Can it be can it be alignment? Can it be how I'm getting into an ocho? It can be all a huge list of things. I can use the sequence that might have pivots in it or not. I can use the sequence to see and play with those elements. Is it my weight placement? That can affect your ochos, for example. So if you start this way, you can make better use of your time in a class or a practice. And the most important thing is that you can then take more back and use there you have now more tools for your own personal tango growth. So with this in mind, I'm going to suggest we go for another dance. Don't do anything. Fanciness is not the important thing here. Just try to start picking cues from your body, listening to things that might be feeling uncomfortable, things that might be feeling comfortable, and then try to see different options, different opportunities if they arise. So let's go. What's this? Okay, yeah, we can go with this one. Okay, so we're back. So I'm going to suggest a theme to you, and hopefully you will use the little tip that I just suggested in order to bring this to something and gain from this as much as you can, but mostly to show you a path. So imagine this practice session as an example of a practice session that you could be building on your own. Basically, that's the idea behind this. So there are a couple of things that I've identified that I would like to work on. I've noticed with a little bit of a stress in the upper body, the establishing itself through the rising of the shoulders. And then there were moments where I wanted to find room for my pivot. So let's play with those two elements, and let's start with a little exercise. So this exercise is gonna be very, very simple, but very helpful. And I think I've used it in many of our practices before. So let's first find, actually, let me turn this way. Yeah, let's first find the position for the torso. And I want you to focus on the center, almost the center of your spine. So somewhere between, so somewhere around the end of your thorax, where you feel that the curve, the thoracic spine, which is the upper part, changes to lumbar, which is the lower part. So somewhere there, and you can place even two hands if you like. You can find your ribs, and you'll know that you're in the right spot. If you find the edge of your rib cage, and you follow it, find the edge of your rib cage, and you follow it back and up. So we're there, and let's stay this way. And I want you to, from wherever you are, find your position and curve and arch. And you'll notice that the curve is much greater than the arch. And now we're not focusing on the whole spine. We're just focusing on that part. And so we're just focusing on the thoracic spine curving and coming up. Or better said, that nexus point between the thoracic spine and the lumbar. So what else do we notice when we do this? There is a moment that if we keep going, we would need to allow for the rest of the spine to go. This is the end of our range. And maybe, depending on where you are, maybe you're already very close to it. So if this is where you're starting from, I want you to see if there is any further that you can go into flexion. Reach that edge, and then slowly start going, unfolding, and see how far into extension you can go. And if you leave your mouth open, you'll notice that you're breathing. There's air coming in and out, and that's because we are compressing and decompressing the lungs. So this is important also for your breathing pattern. If you manage to find what we are looking for this one, the 0-0 position. So we've done this, I think, last time we were doing it with the hips, with the pelvis. This time we're doing it with the thorax. And now as you keep going, and hopefully you found those two edges, I want you to focus on the path from one end to the other end. And this time, knowing where your edge is, your end of range, I want you to avoid kissing it. So acknowledging that you're reaching that limit, try to stay away from that. But we realize the path, that there is a path that we follow from flexion to extension. And you'll notice that, of course, the shoulders are moving along with it. And there is action happening in the arm. So your arm, it's quite difficult to do if your arms are like dead. So there is tone. And then now focus in the middle. So if this is the extension end, middle, flexion, middle, extension, middle, flexion, middle, extension. So I'm following the same path, but I'm acknowledging the middle, where I'm not committing to extension yet, and I'm not committing to flexion. And if as you were going through, you felt that, oh, there were readjustments happening in the lower body, that's great. Because the truth is everything is connected. So if you were, for example, if you have the tendency to sit like this will be very difficult to do. So things will, just exaggerating so you can see, so things will start falling into place, hopefully, as you're doing this exercise, looking for flexion and extension, even though we're focusing on that nexus point. So again, center, and you'll notice, try to stay for a few seconds here, noticing the quality of this position, and flexion, and center, and extension. Let's do two more. Center, extend, center, flex, center, extend, and center, and pull. And you'll notice that here, you're not committing forward and you're not committing back. So you're not in flexion or extension. You're relaxed. It has a comfortable breathing. You have a comfortable breathing flow, so you don't feel like you're holding your breath, and the shoulders are relaxed, which is what what started this exploration. So now, after finding this, we're going to put another song on, and I want you to start from here. Anytime you need to come back to this exercise, pause and find it again. And we're going to be taking forward steps, forward steps, pausing, noticing if this is happening with where the shoulders are tensing up and they're pulling upward. If they do, find your position again, do a little bit of these waves, and then, or back step, pause, side steps, pause, and you play with it. So you take a step, and you pause, you take a step, and you pause. Here we go. Assessing the situation. Let me see something. Okay, I got it, I think. Yeah, my boy. Yeah, my dream. Let us make a world in which I believe. Yeah, my world. Hear my woes, hear my joys, hear my voice. Okay. Pause. Okay, so this is another good example to just take a moment and see. So say this was your in-person class. This was the exercise. You didn't feel like this was, this is what you needed at this moment. You can, though, use this by capturing, that's the other thing, um, by capturing feedback from your body. Maybe you were not, let's say, in a very possible scenario, you don't have a set thing. You don't know where to start from. So you're really not sure what exactly it is that you need. So you go to a class and you go to a practice and you try to pick up from what your instructor is giving you. Which is great, of course. But the extra layer that you can add to this is what feedback does my body give me? And then build off from that. So this is a very simple exercise. Someone might think, it's like that was like a little bit too simple for me. But then you can use, especially exercises like this, you can use them to dive a little bit deeper into how things are actually feeling and what you might be looking for. So let's add to that. So for me, when doing this exercise, I noticed that there were some glitchy points. So to be specific, here I was like, yeah, okay, I feel good. I feel ready. I'm ready to go. But my weight is on 2 feet, which is most likely how we start when we're dancing. We're starting on 2 feet. And so there was this sticky point of how do I go from here to here without this tension building? And maybe you have worked and practiced on toning down that discomfort dial, but I want you to rearrange that dial. So any little bit of discomfort, I want to invite you to explore a better way of doing things, because that's basically what a practice is about. So for me, I found that just going from side to side increased that tension. So if I can exaggerate, I would find this position and be comfortable and ready to go. But then when I would shift over, things would tighten up and I would feel very much restricted in my movement. So, and we've worked on this before. Imagine I'm going back to these are basics, so they're very important and helpful in all aspects on and off the dance floor. Imagine this bowl that is your pelvis balancing over this kind of connection that is your hip joint. So we want to allow for the surfaces to glide over. So there's going to be a little bit of a lift of the free side, and the upper body is going side bending and rotating towards it, towards the free leg. So let's, as you're going through and doing this exercise, I want you to flush through this movement. Try to turn that dial of discomfort up. So any tiny bit of discomfort, I want you to flush it through and find where how your body needs to realign and how your weight needs to be repositioned for this this weight transfer to feel secure and for you to feel over one foot like you are relaxed, not letting go, relaxed, but ready to move. So flush through this, going in either direction, going forward, going back, or going to the side. And then the second point of a glitch was extending the leg either to the front, because this is not something that we usually do. Like we don't go up and go. Usually we just swing the leg through and we go. So we have to find a way of how to manage the time of the extension followed by the step, and also the weight, how the weight is transferring over the foot that we're standing on. So if you hold too far back, then there's going to be tension building up here because you're falling backwards. If you go too far forward, you're going to feel that your toes are really working very hard and your upper body is tensing up, limiting your movement. So you want to find that middle ground where, again, you feel relaxed, like you feel ready to move and you feel in control without limiting your movement. So that would be the other flushing point, the extensions. And if you're here, this is a combination of both, the two flush exercises. If you're here and you try to keep everything square, you're immediately going to feel tightening of the whole upper body. And this limits, first of all, your breathing. And second of all, it limits your movement because past a certain point, you cannot extend. So you would have to carry that foot back, basically, with the other one. So it creates a lot of tension. So again, similar to this, when you're extending back, you want to find to see how your body needs to adjust for that extension to happen. With no exaggerations, because again, the exaggeration can bring the opposite results. Maybe you want to go through these extensions multiple times before you step. Go for it, absolutely. So this is what we mean with flushing through the movement. So flushing through going from 2 feet to 1 foot balance, that would be the first level up, and then flushing through extensions. So you extend multiple times until you find the proper alignment, the proper timing, and the proper weight transfer over the standing foot, how your weight is traveling until you're ready to take that step. So let's put a song on. Let's keep the same because it's very calming and not particularly tangoy. Oops.
Pasa el mundo y el vecino pasa.
Hear my voice, hear my dream. Let us make a world in which I believe. Hear my words, hear my cry. Let me see a change through these eyes. Hear my voice. Hear my dreams. Let us make a world in which we believe, in which we believe. Hear my words, hear my tones, hear my voice. All right. Let's hit pause and oops, pause. Okay, there we go. All right. So, and as you're going, so this is another thing. As you're going with a set exercise, and possibly by this time, like I've done, your teacher would be telling you, well, focus on this, focus on that, look at this, look at that. Other things may be coming up. Try, I know sometimes it gets overwhelming and it might not be easy, but try, if you can, to pick up on those cues as well. So regardless of what you're working on, your body might be giving you little feedback. It's good to capture those if you can, and if it doesn't feel like it's getting exhausting, basically. So let me give you an example. I started noticing that I was building, especially when I was going into a forward step, a little bit of tension in my neck, a little bit coming a little bit from this. So the first thing is A, notice. B, does it happen? When does it happen? Does it happen in all steps? Does it happen mostly in a forward, back, or side step? Does it happen when during the step does it happen? At the end, at the beginning, in the middle, what's going on? So it might be, it might take you down a completely different practice, but it is worth noting. Maybe you can address it at that moment because say you're in a practice like we are now, but it is worth noting it because then you can work on it on your own, basically, or ask your teacher about it. So let's continue. And we said that there were two things, because I see the clock is ticking. There were two things that were that I captured during my first two dances. One was this stressing, which we played with it. Hopefully, by this time we have quite a few tools to readjust once we feel that it's coming up. And something that is very much related to this, space, and especially when we're going into a pivot. So let's see an exercise that relates very much to what we were just working on. And this is also to prove the point that somehow everything is related. So everything is connected in some way. Even things that seem unrelated, there is a common thread. So we were working on this in making this shift from 2 feet to 1 foot smooth. And for making this position comfortable. And by comfortable, we mean we are relaxed. We're not holding unnecessary tension. Our breathing is flowing, and we are ready. We're ready to move. So we're not letting go. but we're not tightening up. We are relaxed, but ready to move. And we're not yet committing to any direction. So if I turn in this way, you can see that I'm not committing to going forward or to going back, meaning, right? So we've worked with this position and we notice that we have a little bit of a lift in the free hip. I'm exaggerating so you can see it through the video. A little bit of a lift that comes just from the structure of our body. You can look up any human skeleton on Google and you'll see exactly what I mean. We are all curves. So we need to, for a more efficient movement, we need to allow these curves to glide instead of conflicting with one another. So we have a little bit of a lift, and that shows as a side reach. And also we have the side reach is always combined with a little bit of a rotation of the upper body. So I know that you might have heard this before. Your upper body rotates, and you try to find the right position for it. Now, allow for this to, how much of rotation, allow for it to come from have the side reach come in first, identify the side reach, and then you'll notice that you need that extra teeny bit of rotation for this to be comfortable. So from here, and you'll notice that the hips, that the hips are also slightly open. So they're not square or in the opposite direction. So we're a little bit in this position, sort of exaggerating. Now, so from here, we flush through it. And you can continue with this idea of flushing through in the next song. But I want you to add something. I want you to add a lapis. So now, this actually has the forward, the side, and the back. So let's do it together. 4 flushes. Flush, 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 hold, and forward, side, back. And again, like you're looking to see how the body rearranges itself, lapis, side, back, and together. We're going to add to it. Change, change, hold, and we're doing the same leg, forward, side, back, and feel that the upper body is breathing through this movement. And lapis. Good. And flush through, flush through, flush through. Now you can be picking up all different other cues, neck, hip joint, stuff, knees, ankles, anything. Breathing. And lapis. And in the lapis, we pass from all these 3 points. Let's change. Let's do one more and then change sides. And hold. And forward. And side. And back. And now around. And good. We're going to do only 3 shifts. Back and hold so we can change side. And we go forward, side, back, and lapis. And flush through. And now don't forget, don't go back to. This is your moment. See how you go from 2 feet to 1 foot, right? And hold. And go. Find your position first. You don't need to match my timing. Go forward and side and back and lapis. Good. Flush through. Flush through. Flush through. And hold. Find your position. Sometimes one side is working better than the other one. Forward, side, back, and hold. Good. And flush through, flush through, flush through, and hold. Forward, side, back, and lapis. And this is the last time for this side. Go side, change, 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 and hold. Find your position. Forward, side, back, and lapis. Good. And together. Now, what we're going to do, add one extra thing. Hold your position on the other side. Go lapis. This time, don't stay back. Cross. Okay. And come back. Now we're going to do the other side. So we're going to be going left, right, and flush through, flush through, flush through, and hold. Lapis right away. Lapis. You're here in the back, and you're going to keep going. And uncross. Back. Flush through, and hold. Go. Around. So you notice there is tightness. So most of the times this is what we do. And this is usually the position. I'm just going to go into a follower's position. And things start getting uncomfortable. So from here, just like we were doing with all the other projections and collections, try to let the surfaces glide and see where your body needs to go. And going. Good. Good. I think I did extra. It doesn't matter. Here we go. So if you were on your left, you're going to be on your right, and vice versa. Lapis. You're here. Change sides, change sides, change sides, and lapis. And you're gonna notice maybe this side for me is no good for some reason. So you're gonna flush it through there. Small adjustments can make a big difference. Let me just adjust so you can see me better. So change, 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 settle, lapis. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna put the music on. You have multiple options. You can do the exercises just like we did before, 3 points, lapis, or lapis, cross back, pivot, shift, shift. And actually, let's do it this way. Then I'm gonna add on. So let's do it this way. It's better this way. Here we go. We have a little bit of time. Okay. Pause. And as we get into the closing of our today's session, let's see how this can be incorporated into moving ochos. So basically, what I would like to invite you to do is, and we can do it together, let's do. If we have, you can go around and step. If you need to take a moment to flush through this position, good indication that something is going on is tightness in the standing hip. So if you feel tightness, as we said, dial that discomfort up. If you feel any tightness, flush through, and then lapis, cross, step. Now, let me go back. Whenever you feel that you want to, instead of lapis, cross, and step forward, you cross and you do a pivot, and you step forward in this direction. Now, this is very similar to this, only now you've added rotation. And this is where things can get difficult. So add the rotation and see, depending on how much you need, how big your ocho is going to be, how much of a side reach would you need for it? So you're not going to end up let me turn this way. You're not going to end up like this. When you feel that you cannot breathe easily and that you are limiting your movement, you have the option either to break things down, shake things up, and find opportunities for more movement, or you can style it up. So we're gonna put the music on. It's gonna be our last dance. If you can, incorporate this. Talk, step, or talk, talk, pivot. Here we go.
Fui como una lluvia de cenizas y fatigas en las horas resignadas de tu vida. Gota de vinagre derramada, fatalmente derramada sobre todas tus heridas. Fuiste por mi culpa golondrina entre la nieve, rosa marchitada por la nube que nos llueve. Fuimos la esperanza que no llega, que no alcanza, que no puede vislumbrar la tarde mansa. Fuimos el viajero que no implora, que no reza, que no llora, que se echó a morir. No comprendes que te estás matando, no comprendes que te estoy llamando. No me beses que te estoy llorando y quisiera no llorarte más. No ves que es mejor que mi dolor quede tirado con tu amor, librado de mi amor final. No comprendes que te estoy salvando, no comprendes que te estás matando. No me sigas, ni me llames, ni me beses, ni me llores, ni me quieras más. Es mejor que mi dolor quede tirado con tu amor, librado de mi amor final. No comprendes que te estoy salvando, no comprendes que te estoy amando. No me sigas, ni me llames, ni me beses, ni me llores, ni me quieras más.
Pasa el mundo y el vecino, pasan los días por la ciudad.
Well, so to summarize, whenever you are in a class or a led practice, such as this one, in person or online, in person is a little bit easier. You put your hand up if you have a question. You know, this is not how this medium works. But regardless, if this, you can always make much more out of it if you tune into grabbing feedback from your body. And I know, I acknowledge that this can be a little bit overwhelming. If you're hearing something the teacher is saying, trying to absorb it, trying to make that part of your movement, and at the same time listening to any feedback that you're getting from your body. But in order to use any of the tools that you're getting from a class and transfer them to your own practice, aiming to build a practice that is unique to you. The only way to do it is to capture feedback and cues that you're getting from your body. My number one suggestion to all tango dancers, because especially you that have been working on this for a very long time, is to dial up the discomfort. Because oftentimes we, more than often actually, we are trained to ignore any discomfort. So it's only until our lower back is killing us that you're like, oops, I did something wrong. So when you're practicing, when you're in a practice, and possibly even I would say when you're in a class, dial up that discomfort. Even a tiny bit of tension, your body is trying to tell you that you're doing something in an inefficient way there, and that means there is a better way to do this. So that is your opportunity to actually try to find the better way and make that practice, even if it's led by someone else, unique to you. So yes, so first tip, dial up the discomfort, your discomfort radar. There we go. So you don't ignore any signals. And then try to pick up cues like we did when we were setting up this practice. Are you building tension? When is that happening? Is this common in other types of movements that you're doing during your dance? Yes or no? Is this a common theme? Is it something that shows up at the beginning of your class or practice and then trickles away, which would potentially mean that you need a little bit more prepping time? All of these things can really transform the experience that you have in a class or in a practice and give you the necessary tools to start building your practice. So, for example, say a month goes by and you're back online and you're finding Bautanz on YouTube. We have so many videos there. Which one do you start with? So have a prep dance before you go on YouTube. You've decided, okay, I have a few minutes extra. Let me do this for, this is my me time. Have your prep dance first. Pick up those cues, 1 dance, 2 dances, however many you need. Pick up those cues. And then, according to how you're feeling that day, choose the video, choose the exercise. Don't do it the other way around, where you look through the video, look, this looks interesting, let me try that. And then you try to figure how that fits with what you need. Find what you need on that day, and then look for the video. So stay tuned for next month's practice. Send me your comments or thoughts or questions at chrisa.assis, like you see it written on there on social media, chrisa.assis@bautanz.com. I would love to read what you are working on, what you're having trouble with, any light bulb moments. And yeah, of course, join the Bautanz community so you can get tips and drills and thoughts from me. And check out It Takes You to Tango. We have a range of exercises and a range of tips from building your practice to being to social skills and milonga management. So check it out, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.